Thank you. First to say, it's wonderful being here at the East West Bookstore in Mountain View. It's one of our favorite bookstores. I'll tell you a little story, and that is a friend of mine was having his 60th birthday, about 150 close friends, and asked me to say a few words. And I told him that, 60 is a wonderful age because you no longer care what people say about you. But when you're in the 80s like I am, it even gets better because you can't remember what people said about you. So I'm really not too concerned about, I hope the word doesn't offend any of you, but I use it as a metaphor. It's really a spiritual book for the junk that we put in our minds that causes distress and causes us to feel separation and causes us to go to war with ourselves and other people. In my youth, I used a lot of profanity, but since I became a student of the Course of Miracles back in 1975 was when I began a spiritual transformation. I was a militant atheist at that time, and I really don't use profanity. When we don't forgive, it's like taking poison and putting it in our minds. So in this book, I talk about a patient, kind of a make-believe composite of a guy who was a very angry guy. He didn't spend very much time at home with his wife. He was always making people wrong. He was always unhappy. He didn't care about the planet. This guy, this patient, just smelled really awful. And he had bad odor. And as he began to incorporate these attitudinal healing principles, at the very end, he just smelled like a rose. And it's not so much how much we do. I and so many people get involved with the to-do list. We have all these big to-do lists, we want to get them done, but even those of us that don't really finish doing them, and we get upset with ourselves. So I decided to start a to-be list. So I remind myself every morning, as soon as I am, that on the big list, we're compassionate, we're unconditional loving, we're forgiving, we're gentle, we're kind, we're patient, and we're open-minded. And when we start the day reminding that who we are is really the essence of love, which is the first principle of attitudinal healing, we start the day taking responsibility for our happiness. We stop blaming other people when things go wrong. We stop being pessimists and thinking that, oh, the worst is yet to come. And we start thinking the best is yet to come. There's a story in a book called Finding Our Way Home that reminds me, the patient in this book was complaining a lot. And this is a story about gratitude, how important it is to start each day with all the things that we're grateful for. And the story is that Diane's written a number of books with me, but this particular book was the first book that she wrote by herself, Sounds of the Morning Sun. And she wanted to find the best illustrator in the country for that, and found him actually in Marin County, and it's 20 minutes from where we live. And she mentioned, I'll give it a fictitious name, the guy was Tom Jones. And I said, I had a patient when he was 7 years old by the name of Tom Jones. It couldn't be the same guy, but do you mind if I come along with you? Came along with her, it was the same guy. Oh. He had 2 children. And
he was about 40 then, I think, yeah.
Yeah, we spent a couple hours talking with each other. He ended up usually charges around $3,000 to $5,000. He did it free. And we had this wonderful conversation. Then we were just about ready to leave, and he said, hey, Jerry, could you wait a couple more minutes? And going backwards, his father was in prison when he was 7. His mother was a nurse. And I remember on his seventh birthday, I gave him a small fishing pole. My office in Tiburon was way out in the dock, and I would fish with kids, because oftentimes they talk more easily with a fishing pole in their hand. And I gave him this. Well, he went back, and all of a sudden he came back with this little fishing pole that he had since he was 7 years old. He had saved it all these years. I began to cry, and it was so amazing. in terms of the gratitude I have, and to remind myself and to remind you now, just the small smile in the elevator to someone you're standing next to, how really important it is to be kindly to other people. And the little things are as important as the big things.